Hi guys, welcome back to MommyVerse. So in today's video I'm going to talk about gestational diabetes. I did had gestational diabetes during my pregnancy with my daughter, and I learned some few basic concepts to keep in mind while planning my meals. So if you're somebody who might be interested, then please keep on watching. Also like, share and subscribe to my channel for future updates. Now let's move on to the video. In this video, I will discuss how to plan your diet and what things to actually keep in mind before you start planning your diet. Now, gestational diabetes is pretty common nowadays. In fact, approximately 90% women have gestational diabetes, and it can be managed with healthy food choices, stress management, and of course, diabetes medicines if needed. But before we start the video, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm not a doctor or a dietitian. Please refer to your doctor before you try any of it. Now, let's start with the basics. What is gestational diabetes? Women who have high blood sugar level during pregnancy are said to have gestational diabetes or diabetes in pregnancy. Now, how does it happen? Hormones from the placenta can block the action of mother's insulin and can cause insulin resistance, which in turn causes sugar to build up in mother's blood. This sugar then passes through the placenta where it can affect the baby. After giving birth, the body's need for insulin decreases, and most women with GD who were taking diabetes medicines might no longer need it. Now, what tests were carried out to determine whether I have GD or not? Generally, GD screening can be done in 1 or 2 steps. So for me, it took place in my 25th week of pregnancy, and the first step required me to drink 75 grams of sugary drink and testing my blood sugar 1 to 2 hours afterwards. Once you pass this step, you don't need to go on to step 2. But in my case, I failed my step 1, and that's when my doctor asked me to proceed to step 2 for further diagnosis. Now, GD is diagnosed when 2 or more values are above range. So for me, my 2R and 3R numbers were borderline high. So my doctor advised me to keep my sugar in control at all times by making changes in my diet. I wasn't prescribed any insulin or diabetes medicine. Now that we have covered the basics, let's move on to the main topic, that is meal planning. Meal planning can be tricky with GD, and for that you need to understand certain concepts. For me, this was totally something very new and nerve-wracking because nobody in my family had GD before. So the moment I was diagnosed, I started taking stress even before researching about it. Total human tendency, I tell you. But then I pulled myself together and started to read some leaflets that were passed on by my doctor to me. Now, she already told me that I have borderline GD, so I wanted to make some changes in my diet. So before even trying anything, she sent me up to a dietitian to have a better understanding. So whatever learnings I had during this process, I extracted these 6 points which according to me are very important. So the first point, as you can see here, is having a good understanding of the carbohydrates chart. Now, we already know that carbohydrates turn into sugar in your blood. It is important to keep track of how much carbohydrates you're eating at each meal and at snack. This is called carbs counting. Do not avoid carbs food altogether because that will lower your blood sugar numbers, and it's not a healthy way for you and your baby. And it can also raise your blood sugar levels. So be sure that everything you eat is balanced. Check out a food plan for you and with all the nutrition facts, and follow your individualized plan. I will share my sample meal plan in the end of this video. Stay tuned for that. Monitoring blood sugar levels. Yes, you need to monitor your blood sugar level at all times. So for me, I used to monitor my blood sugar level 4 times a day. I'll get back to this topic later in the video. Understanding portion control. I will share a sample plate where this is a part it's taken care of, and my sample meal plan will give you an idea of how to plan your meals. Of course, lots of protein in the diet, even with snacks that you eat. Walking after every meal. I will talk about this when I talk about exercise further in this video. And experiment as you go. This last point in particularly was very important to me because something which might work for others might not work for you. So it totally depends on person to person. So I would say that experiment with small amount of foods and keep checking your blood sugar level for clear understanding. It took me a week to know what actually spikes my blood sugar level and what doesn't. So ideally, the sample plate with portion sizes should look something like this. As you can see, 50% of your plate should have non-starchy vegetables, which includes cabbage, cauliflower, carrots, and greens. 25% of your plate should have protein like chicken, fish, egg, or tofu or nuts if you are a vegetarian or vegan. And the last 25% should have starchy foods like bread, lentils, brown rice, etc. Now, checking your blood sugar daily will ensure how your diet or meal planning is working. So I needed to take my blood sugar level 4 times a day, one before breakfast and rest 2 hours after each meal. If your numbers are high in the morning, try eating a high fiber or high protein snack 1 hour before going to bed. But if your numbers are less than 60, eat the recommended amount of carbohydrate at meals and snacks. It should not be fewer than 30 to 40 grams at meals and 15 grams at snacks. Subsequently, if it is higher, then eat more of high fiber carb like brown rice with protein and veggies. Now, this is a very important point I learned during this time, which is label reading for carbs, which I never did in my life before. But it was really useful in my day-to-day life and still is in my life today. So this is a great takeaway from the session I had with my dietitian. So as you can see, I have a nutritional label here of a whole grain bread which says that it has a serving size of 42 grams and it has 100 calories. You don't need to see any of the label first, but you need to first move on to the total carbohydrate. So as you can see, the total carbohydrate count is 20 grams here. All of this tells you that it's the size of one serving. The total carbohydrates in one serving 20 grams and it includes the sugar as well. Now check for the dietary fiber in the total carbohydrate section. Subtract the grams from dietary fiber from the total carbohydrate grams, and this is the total carbohydrates you'll be consuming. Simple. So in this case, one slice of bread has 20 minus 3 is equal to 70 grams of carbs, which is great, and plus it has 4 grams of protein, which is a plus. So if you eat one slice of bread with some avocado, it would be a good snack for you. Or you can maybe have 2 slices of bread in the breakfast with an egg and some salad on the side, which will still be under the limit of having carbs during the breakfast. I'm sharing some points that I kept in mind while exercising. Exercising helps body's insulin work better and is a great way to keep your blood sugar levels in range. Try to get at least 30 minutes of exercise each day, of course of moderate intensity. I would say 4-5 days a week it's great, because have plenty of water before, during and after exercise because you have to stay hydrated. Don't overdo it. If you're overdoing it, can lead to stress and which can spike up your blood sugar level. Walking is after meals is a must. Of course it is. So whatever meal plan I'm sharing next, I used to walk 15-20 minutes after each meal compulsorily, and that actually helped me not spike up my blood sugar level. Watch your body. Of course, if you're tired or you're gasping for breath, just take a break or slow down. You need to listen to your body at all times. And the last point would be avoid exercising on your back. These are few common yet important points to remember while exercising. So let me start by sharing my meal plan for gestational diabetes. So every morning I used to wake up at around 8:30 and have a glass of water first, and then at 9 a.m. I used to have my breakfast. Before that I would always used to take my blood sugar level. So usually my blood sugar would be around 80 in the morning, and then I would have my breakfast. So I have one option here which has 1 cup of tea without sugar, 1.5 bread slice, 1 egg, 5 soaked almonds, and 2 soaked walnuts. So tea and almonds and walnuts were pretty consistent in my diet every day for the breakfast. But if you're somebody who doesn't eat egg, you can always smear the bread slice with cream cheese, tomato, and cucumber, and that is really delicious too. For snack number 1, I used to have 1 orange and 1 piece of cheese. This was typically my go-to snack, and it actually filled me up enough. Or I used to have half apple with peanut butter and some cheese. I really never got bored of this. In fact, I loved it. Now at 1, I used to have typical lunch. So in lunch I used to have half cup of brown rice, half cup of dal, and half cup of salad, which was very important, half cup of scrambled paneer or tofu, and 1/4 cup of yogurt with berries if I'm craving anything sweet. Otherwise this would be exception. Or maybe 3 ounces of chicken or grilled chicken or tandoori chicken, 1 cup of salad which has cucumber, tomato, onion, lettuce, and spinach. Again, half cup of brown rice and half cup of sauteed green beans. So I used to make variations with this. If you're vegetarian, you can opt for grilled tofu. It tastes just good as well. And it's high protein and is a good substitute for chicken. You can also add beans, black beans. That is good as well. Now 4 p.m. I have to have snacks, so it would be either energy bar or 4 crackers with cheese. Now 7:30 I used to have dinner with 3 soyabean rotis or green bean stir fry, mixed salad, or sometimes a vegetable, extra vegetable. Can be 1 cup of dal as well. Three pieces of soyabean rotis would always satisfy my carbohydrate count, so I wouldn't have rice or anything further. I would have salad, more salad to fill me up, or half cup of brown rice, half cup of cooked lentils, and 1 cup of salad. As you can see, salad was very important in my meal. At all meals I used to have 1 cup of salad, and if I would be hungry I would take more. But yeah, eating salad was very important in each meals. And last meal before the bed would be 1 cup of milk with handful of nuts, or maybe 2 wheat rusks if I'm really hungry. Now you can see I've jotted down the sample plan with my breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And these were my actual numbers. So before fasting it was 80, after lunch it was 90, after dinner it was 95, and after breakfast it was 82, which is perfectly balanced. Now let's move on to some important points to take away from this slide, which is to have food in the first hour of waking up. It is very important so that it doesn't spike up your blood sugar level and you feel energized throughout the day. Also, fruits like berries and vegetables like carrots does have natural sugar in them. So this point was an eye-opener for me when I went to the dietitian. So be mindful of that. Call your doctor with your slightest concern. Of course, if you're experiencing some things, just call your doctor and let them know. Next point is to avoid having fruit juice, regular soda, or any sweetened drink. Even if the juice is extracted at your home, uh, just avoid having any kind of fruit juices. I want to add one more point to this, is to plan your meals by filling half of your plate with non-starchy vegetables. Balance the second half of your plate with protein, fat, and carbohydrate foods. This is very important. Remember, there is nothing you did wrong to cause gestational diabetes. If your blood sugar level is well managed during pregnancy, you have the same chance of having a happy and healthy baby as women without gestational diabetes. And with that, I'm going to wrap up my video here today. But apart from the above points, if you have anything to add to this, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.